Okay, it's Friday night. The weekend's about to start. I just wanted to take a moment to address a lot of message I received privately and publicly about what's going on since Alec Baldwin unfortunately killed this DOP on the set. I just want to say for the record, like, how long has it been and the investigation is going on? When Hilaria, the so-called Hilaria Baldwin, and I go back to this so you understand the difference when you're rich and famous and well-connected, and when you're just a foreigner, middle-class citizen, or worse, just a woman. And I'm saying that because it's totally true. I was in New York, and a pathological, narcissistic, who wanted to... She perceived me as a rival and she wanted to get rid of me. So she just took the phone, called 911, used a fake name that was not even publicly known at that time. And it's not her legal name. She was not living at the address where she claimed she was. So her legal residence address is not, it's not there. It's not in Amagansett, as most people would think. And so when you use a fake name and a fake address to make somebody being arrested, it's criminal concealment and it's a perjury. And that in the United States, it's big crime. It's the highest level of crime. It's a felony. And this crime, if I recall, on what I've been told by my lawyers, it's 7 to 11 years of jail when you lie to authority to create false arrests, false imprisonment. And that's what Hilaria Baldwin, what we call Hilaria Baldwin, it's not her name. Her name was, her legal name is, and she never changed her legal name. So we had investigators verifying all this. And she, of course, to defend herself, because a liar, when is caught with a lie, they say, oh, another lie, you know. So she said, oh, I changed my legal name for this, for Hilaria. I can tell you it's totally another lie. And I have the proof with investigations. And up to Christmas, she claimed she changed her legal name prior to that, which she never did. And so she created a criminal concealment, a perjury to get me falsely accused, falsely arrested, falsely imprisoned. And I just want to say to all of you who are like me, just middle-class people doing a good living and not lying to pretend to be something else, Spanish or whatever, to seem more exotic. I have a strong accent. It's French accent. I'm French Canadian. I wish I wouldn't have it, but I'm not faking it. I'm not using it. It's not from, like, Hilaria's kind of copycat me to want to get attention or to seem different than just the regular Bostonian. And that tells you that person is sick, you know. She needs a lot of, and what I'm saying is she called 911. She created a lot of crime, a perjury, a criminal concealment. She gave a false legal address. She gave a false legal name to get a person she perceived as a rival, which was me at that time, to get me arrested because I was on my way with the texting that I exchanged with Alex. I was on my way to have a coffee with him. Like he said, like I said, I'm gonna pass by before I leave back for Canada. So either she was looking at his communication or God knows what. But the thing is, she intercepted. She called 911 with lies to authority, and he did zero investigation. So I'm bringing this because how many weeks now? How many days? It's very painful for the family. They are mourning this DOP, and she And same thing for the director, because he got shot as well. So it's not like the investigation is putting white gloves, because when you're rich and famous, you can create waves and problem to people that would accuse you. So they're making sure, like, the day they're gonna accuse someone or a legal entity as a production house, or regardless who, they want to make sure they're going to be untouchable, because it's going to be in the news, because it's going to be with a lot of money involved. And the investigator, they don't want to have repercussion on their career and on themselves. But me, I was not rich and famous. I was not worldly known. And they did zero investigation. They didn't even ask my side of the story before arresting me in New York. This crazy psycho, pathological liar, Hilaria, and I always do that because it's not her name, and I will not pretend it is, and it's not a legal name. So in a legal case, you have to be diligent, you have to do things right, and her name was not Hilaria. So she lied about her name, she lied about her residential address, and she got me arrested. It took them I was on the street. I was not in the house. I was in the middle of the street walking my tiny dog, and my car was parked a block away. So it's not like they could say I was there yelling, causing disturbance, disorderly conduct, or, I was not. I was just peacefully, a citizen, peacefully in the street with my 2-pound dog at 4:00 in the afternoon, causing no trouble, and wanting to go for a coffee if he was available, with a man I've known at that time for more than 13 years, with who I had communication, cell phone conversation, email, text, Facebook. And to be a stalker, you cannot have worked together and be a friend and have mutual, constant communication. So the only person that said I'm a stalker, and you can listen to it on my YouTube channel, it's the 911 recording of Hilaria, crazy Hilaria, Hilary Lynn Edward Thomas from Boston, like the 911 recording, and you would hear she say Hilaria, and she is looking on paper and envelope to figure out the exact address where she is, because she just called it the Devonshire, like she's above people and everybody must know where Alec Baldwin lived in her crazy head. So, but nobody did at that time. So for me to have his address, for me to have his phone number, cell phone number at home, to be having conversation on Facebook, it's because we knew each other, and it was a bilateral relationship. No, she did not like it, but you have to understand that Alec Baldwin never called against me. It's her, and she used a fake address, fake legal address of residential, and a fake name. And based on that, I should have never been arrested. But the point here tonight, I'm just saying, they did zero investigation. I got arrested on the spot. And it's not like they kept it quiet. Right away, it was all over the world, in the news, leaving me no chance. Breaking right away my presumption of innocence, and destroying my reputation and my family and my capacity to go back to work, capacity to function ever again like before. She, with her lie, she killed the woman I was, and she really did. The woman I was, and my perception of life, and the way that I saw everything prior, and my hopes, my dreams, my dream of having a family and children, and my career was going so well, and my house was fully paid. I lost my house in litigation because of her, and everything was lie. But you have to understand, when New York knows that she lied at Christmas, they don't want to reopen the investigation or just void my guilty verdict. And you want to know why? Because they know they're at fault. The NYPD never ever went upstairs and asked her, show me your driving license. I want to verify your residential legal address, and I want to verify your name before we're going to take this poor girl into a massive destruction in the news, in detention, and leaving her no chance to ever see life the way she did before, never see justice. I never saw justice or like police officer, judge, lawyer the way I did before. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to trust any legal system or any people in power position like the judge, the lawyer, because they just took me on the street like if I was in a non-democratic country. They never verified who was calling, because it was not Alec Baldwin. And this girl was totally unknown at that time. She was a yoga teacher working like 70 hours a week just to barely financially make it. And which is, you know, it's okay. I mean, I was working very hard myself, but I was not pretending to be somebody else. I was not lying on who I am or who I date or where I live or all the fake story. And I'm going to leave it like that, because you have to understand how it brings 10 years. It's going to be like in 3 to 4 months, going to be 10 years. It broke my life, broke my family, broke everything. For her 2-minute phone call, it's on my YouTube channel, where she lies about who she is. And so if when you can lie about your name, when you can lie about who you are, well, of course you can lie about, you know, a woman that you think, that you really strongly believe that Alec is still communicating with her by text, by email, by phone call, and you don't want that. She didn't want that. So she decided to take the matter in her own lying hands, and she lied to 911 like there would be no consequence on her. And narcissistic people, that's what they believe. They believe they're above people. They believe they are above the law. They never gauge like the consequences of their action, because they live in the moment. They're very spontaneous. And all it matters is for them to win the war. Well, there was no war, but she created it in her head. And she's very much like that. You saw it, like how crazy she is in front of the journalists, and angry for no reason, because she's not even involved, but she wants mediatic attention because she wants to regain her position and makes money. It's all that it's about for her is her own fame. She's a narcissistic. So no investigation. I was detained for more than the maximum that is allowed. I was detained for nearly 40 hours with no water, no food. They denied me my right to call a translator, to call my embassy, because I'm a French Canadian. I had the right to be represented by my embassy. That was all over the news around the world. Or my right to call a lawyer. And they choose a legal aid lawyer that I never had the time in 40 hours of detention to even like spend 5 minutes with that person. My life was ruined right away. And the district attorney, Eric Schneiderman, is such a good friend of Alec Baldwin that it's Alec Baldwin that did his inauguration speech. You would see it pinned on my Twitter, so you have the video. While he's also good friends with Governor of New York State at that time, Andrew Cuomo, that he's also included in that inauguration speech. And those two men right now are accused of wrongdoing, sexual misconduct on a woman. So, of course, you know, everything was organized for me to be destroyed right away, because this narcissistic person, on a spontaneous move, decided to call 911. Her father is a lawyer, so she know what words to use. After 9/11, If a high-profile New Yorker was in trouble, you just have to mention his name, mention that it's considered a high profile versus a stranger, like a foreigner. I'm not from, like I'm French Canadian from Montreal, you know what I mean? But like she used those keywords because she knows better. She's been coached by her father, who is a lawyer, and she you can hear the 911. She says, I'm Alec Baldwin, girlfriend. I'm Alec Baldwin, the actor, you know, girlfriend. And we have a stalker. We have a stalker. And she doesn't know how to say cucumber in English, you know. That's the same person. But it is true. And it's only based on what she claimed on the 911 phone call. 0 time of investigation. And my life was finished. I ended up excluded socially for 10 years alone. No friends, no family. Live in great poverty. Having a hard time everywhere, in every field, every aspect of my life. And I went in 6-month detention in Rikers Island, which after Guantanamo is considered one of the worst places in the US or in North America. And it was. So my life was in danger in detention. I ended up in infirmary many times a week, every week, constantly, and hospitalized at the hospital. So it was not an easy walk in the park. Let's put it this way. In 3-4 months going to be 10 years that I got spontaneously arrested based on the lies of a psychopath, a malignant narcissistic, and a pathological liar that lied for 10 years on our name and served you a Spanish accent, and she's doing her paella and gazpacho and blah blah blah. You know, that's I know it's crazy. You have to be very ill to do something like that and lie about your name and bring your Spanish accent and create your own life. And now she tried to say she's, I don't know, like flexible or whatever. Like, no, I don't know. But, you know, I don't care about her as a person. I just think she's dangerous. And she's been extremely dangerous for me and my family, but she's certainly dangerous because she never received any treatment. And she's certainly dangerous for many other people. And if whatever happened to you, if you're the yoga student that got healed in her class and she managed to blame it on you and never take the responsibility, narcissistic, they never do. But you can always DM me if you have an encounter that is abusive or strange or aggressive with Hilaria Baldwin. Our real name is Hilary Lynn Hayward Thomas. So just DM me and tell me like a resume of your thing, and maybe together we can work things out, like make it better for everybody. Because she, she wanted. I could have died in jail. I could have died during being arrested, and she couldn't care less. Like, really, I never met her. It's not like we ever chat or never been in the same room. I never saw her face to face. You have to understand how dangerous she is, because to do something like that, something was building up in her head, you know, and it was like spinning hard. So I'm telling you, at any given time, like I'm saying to myself, I'm saying to myself, is this person going to continue to cause me problem? She did. I left Rikers Island. I came back to Canada, and she went back to a precinct, Upper West Side, where Alec knew the police officer or the investigator. And so she felt all safe, like a narcissist, like to feel like above people with privilege. And so she walked in there, and she, it was in 2015, I believe it was in November. She wrote a full statement that she signed that I was in New York chasing her. It ended up right away, again, once again, no investigation, like zero for the second time. My name in the news. She's back at it. The stalkers right after jail is chasing Hilaria, blah, blah, blah. It's always based on the lies of crazy Hilaria. Hilary Lynn Award Thomas from Boston. So, who doesn't know how to say cucumber? And like what happened is I was in Canada, and the way she works, because maybe she's not very smart, the way it works is like when you're a foreigner, you go in detention and you cross back, let's say, to Canada. I cannot re-enter with this new criminal record of mine that result from her lies and that trial. I cannot re-enter United States. So it's not like I could have been in New York chasing her. I was in Canada. So what the NYPD did, for once, they did something really good. They called RCMP in Canada, or like SQ, the Quebec State Police, and they came to my address with the local police officer with their arms, and like, it's terrifying for me. With the PTSD, it's terrifying. But they came to my address and they saw I was there. Well, an hour before, she was depositing and signing. Like you go to police officer, you write a false declaration that you sign with your fake name on top of everything, like it's signed with HILARIA Baldwin. She never used her legal name, and she knows better. With her father being a lawyer, she knows better. And so all this was done to vilify me, but her purpose was to send me back to jail because she pretended I broke my protection order. And by breaking the protection order, I did 6 months of jail for something, for a crime I didn't commit, that she created it out of thin air based on lies. And it was not enough for her that she created it again. Like a morning, she woke up, that crazy one, and she went to the police station. False accusation. Sabourin is chasing me with, and she stated very interestingly, she said, with no doubt it's her. I have no doubt it's her, and it could never be anybody else, because she claimed that we exchanged communication, that I called her name, that she called my name, and she was so terrified of me that she ran into her building apartment where she claims it's her legal address, which it's not. Even at that time, it was not. So she did that to get me arrested on breaking my protection order, so that would have sent me 10 years of jail. Okay? And I would have been, once again, trialed against Eric Schneiderman, Andrew Cuomo, friends of Alec Baldwin in New York City. And I would have had no chance, like I had no chance prior, because everything was a collusion and a conflict of interest, and they used their power they had for their friends. And she thought she could feel above people, and she thought I didn't have enough punishment for 6 months of jail for something I never did. I never met her, never spoke to her. You have to understand, that's what being narcissistic is. It's like very crazy, dangerous, and she lied to herself, and she ended up believing her lies. So she can be very dangerous. So she got me 6 months of jail, was not enough. She claimed she wrote a full statement that she signed with, again, a fake name. And it was published around the news to vilify me again. But this time I was in Canada, and all the New York Post, everybody, Entertainment Tonight, everybody just went like publishing, Alex Stalker is out of jail, but she's back at it. Apparently the stalker was blah, blah, blah. It's like they're enjoying destroying a human being with zero investigation for NYPD. And then suddenly the charge drop for them. And they know what happened because I contacted each and every one of them and I wrote what happened. And they never published either an excuse or like a correction. Like Juliette Sabourin was not in New York and Hilaria Baldwin is delusional, you know? No. The police came to my address and I gave them my passport. And with my passport, they took the serial number of my passport. And, well, two things first. Like Hilaria claimed I was in New York. Unless I own a private jet, I would have not been an hour or two in Candiac in Quebec, Canada, like an hour or two later, you know? So that was a proof in itself. But just to make it stronger, I gave them my passport to prove that I never crossed the United States ever again. But I never even tried to present myself in any American borders and just say, can I please re-enter, blah, blah, blah. I want to go after Hilaria Baldwin in New York and harass her again. Yeah, like I never did, and I never did once. I don't know her. I never met her. We don't have anybody in common beside Alec, but Alec it's for the conversation I had with him and sometimes about Hilaria, and I'm going to say Hilaria, that's another video. But anyway, so right away, the French-Canadian journal, like the newspaper, Journal de Montreal, Journal de Québec, the news, the broadcast news like TVA, they right away said, well, the Americans in New York are pretending Geneviève is still in, like harassing Hilaria based on what Hilaria went to deposit with her signature. That is super, super criminal. It's a felony, and that is like years and years in jail. And we have a copy of that, like it exists. So it's like we can make her responsible for what she did to me. And but it wasn't enough to send an innocent in jail with lies for 6 months. Now she wanted to pretend I broke my protection order and send me for 10 years. And like, what's the chance of committing a suicide in high-profile event being vilified around the world? 100% almost, you know. Her mom is a doctor. Her father is a lawyer. She knows what she's doing. It's not like she doesn't know the consequences on like what leads a person to depression, suicide, or like, you know, I was attacked by her lies printed around the news. And I just want to say, no investigation twice. For the 2 accusations, I was published as a guilty person right away. 0 investigation. Because it came from rich and famous, they published like it was true. Are we a society that if anything, any lies come from rich and famous, or the new girlfriend that is unknown of a rich and famous person, and she lied to get somebody hurt or somebody killed or somebody's life and family destroyed, and everybody think it's publishing material because this person is having a sexual relationship or a romance or what she pretend that to be with a rich and famous person. Is that the society we are in? I think that's what it is. And anyway, so for twice, you know, thank God I was in Canada. Thank God the Canadian RCMP and police reached me, and thank God I was at my mom's place. And the same morning, like hours prior, I was at the hospital because I was there to prepare for a surgery, Hospital of Montreal, and I give the police officer, because they said, where were you 2 hours prior? I'm like, I don't own a private jet to be in New York. And, you know, and when you cross the border, or when you, even if you have a private jet, everything, like all the passenger international trip is listed. So it's not like you can do whatever you want and in and out in 2 hours just to chase somebody. So it was proven that she lied, and it was obvious that she lied. And the U.S. Custom, the border, they said this passport never even tried to re-enter. It would not re-enter in the United States with a criminal record she's got. So I will probably never return to the United States for the rest of my life, you know. And that's a consequence as well. And of the lies of a crazy pathological liar that lies about her name. But what's her next move? Is she gonna come here and kill me like she was in Vermont always, or she still is? It's an hour away from my house. I got scared. I told people I know, I said, if this crazy one wants to cross the border and assassinate me, nothing will stop her, because nothing stopped her to lie to NYPD, to lie on her identity and on me. She came to my trial. She testified with her crazy, stupid Spanish accent under the non-legal name of HILARIA Baldwin. And my investigator has all the proof that she never changed her name legally. So it's like, you know, she really believes she can do whatever she wants and say whatever she wants us to believe. And what's her next move? She gonna come and kill me? She's, you know, like nothing stopped people that are very dangerous like that. I have to admit she's a psychopath. She's really, really dangerous because she sent an innocent to jail, but she killed the person I was. She killed the woman I was. I was a very good citizen. I had my house in St. Bruno fully paid. I was traveling around the world. I had 1 million of friends and contact, and you know, I had a very good life and I was happy. And now I'm always sick. I'm always alone. I'm poor, and it's all because of our lies. So you have to understand, if out there anybody like this student that was hurt in our class, and I'm thinking of this person, but I'm certain there's much more, because pathological narcissists is their way that they feel above people. So if she did what she did to the extent she did to me, and after 6 months of jail was not enough, she woke up a day and she went. She lives on the 10th Street or 11th Street, something like that. She went all the way to Central Park, Upper West Side, because Alec knows a guy there. So it's not like she wanted to go somewhere and do something diligent within the respect of the law. No, she wanted to use her privilege and VIP thing. She went all the way there, and she wrote like full declaration, totally full of lies. I was not even capable to be in the United States. So, and based on nothing, like what triggered her crazy to wake up that day and do that? Seriously. So what's her next move? You know, what's going to trigger her in her own? I never met this person and never spoke to her. You have to understand that for what she did to me and what she continued to try to do, to send me on 10 years of jail for pretending I broke my protection order, really strongly believing that once again the conflict of interest of Alec Baldwin friends would just do the magic trick, so I wouldn't have any witness, wouldn't have any lawyer, like a really bad trial. And she said, oh my God, I'm going to use my VIP white privilege to harass her. That's what she's harassing me. She's stalking me. And she is menacing me, but she killed me. You have to understand, I will never be able to see the life and the people, my friends, my family, or future friends or future family, if ever that become possible, which I'm not even certain, how betrayal I've been by everybody around me, because they really believe what was in the news. But what was in the news was Hilaria Cucumber Baldwin, the liar, fictional universe. And same thing in like, I remember I was at my mom's in Cardiac, and in the second attempt when she tried to send me to jail for 10 years pretending I was chasing her downtown Manhattan, and I was in Cardiac in Montreal, and my brother called, where are you? I'm like, what's going on? Where are you? I'm like, I just come back from the hospital. I had my appointment for the surgery, and I'm with my mom because I was already natural helper. And he said, well, you're all over the news pretending you're in New York. Like, what's going on? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, and that's how out of context this is. So what's her next move? Like, I'm scared. She's in Vermont, an hour away from here. I'm not saying that to, yeah, let's do it, or to suggest her or something. Not at all, because I managed to get some people here advised, and they know about that. But I was terrified, like knowing she's an hour away from here, that in the COVID-19, we, as Canadian border, we let American come in and out. So I don't know, like, why is she in Vermont? Is she in Vermont to come in Montreal? Is she going to do something? Because something happened with Alec. Her level of stress and confusion, and her very big need to be in the news, to regain, because it was probably a very big narcissistic wound when everybody realized she was lying about her name and the cucumber and the Spanish accent, and she was ridiculed for being exposed of who she truly is, which is a liar, right? So now she's in Vermont since a week. So I told everybody here, there's camera everywhere and on every door of my building. I got terrified. What's her next move? And for the rest of my life, you have to understand, I'm not protected, and I'm the victim. And she did it for more than once. Like, if I wasn't in Canada, I would have been arrested, and I would have had no chance again to speak, no chance for like equal access of justice, no chance for a real lawyer, no chance to present evidence, subpoena. Just like my first trial, I had no subpoena, no evidence deposit, no witness, no right to have like a good lawyer. The lawyer I had, I picked him up like on the side of the road at the Palais de Justice on like 3 days before. So so that's why when New York, I called them at Christmas, after Christmas last year, and I said at NYPD, I spoke with the person there, and at the Attorney General, New York Attorney's Office, I said, she lied. I also did that. It's even more important because when the 2015 story happened, right away I called NYPD, the precinct, but also the big boss. And I called Zach Standig, the attorney on my case, but I also called his boss. And I said, look, you have a signed declaration full of lies, signed with her fake name. And at that time, they didn't buy the fake name because they really believed it was her name. And then she was Spanish because she came to my trial with her fake accent and everything. And now we know better. But thank God for me. But And at New York, they refused to void my guilty verdict at that time, even if they knew, because when somebody gets you arrested based on lies, and after jail, you're in Canada, and she signed a declaration. I'm certain that Geneviève Sabourin, we exchanged words. We were close enough. She was right in my face. Like, she detailed everything. So she said, without any doubt, it cannot be anybody else. Without any doubt, it's Geneviève Sabourin. Like, she did everything to get me in big trouble again. And when she used those key words, it's based on the coaching of her lawyer father, because she knows how to pinpoint the most important things to provoke an arrest. And she's not educated in law. So she takes the information from her father that is a lawyer, right? And so I called NYPD. I called the attorney's office in New York, and at that time, and I said, you have the evidence, you have to void my guilty verdict, and you have to set me free. Plus, you have to start an investigation on her. I'm telling you, it's not her name, and that's felony. That's criminal concealment. That's perjury on trial, on oath. It's really, really wrong. And I'm saying you have to start your investigation on her and void my guilty verdict and clean my name socially, because you have the proof that she's fictionally creating false accusation against me on many occasions. And the only objective for me maybe to commit suicide, to kill myself, to get killed during an arrest, or to get killed during a very long detention. I was detained with people that killed their husband or stabbed their husband or allegedly killed children. And I spent 6 months living with those people, fearing for my life because of our lies. I was sleeping with them, eating with them. I was really out of context, like really. I came out of there, my life was totally ruined on every aspect. So she killed the woman I was. So what is she going to do next? When I figure out she's like an hour away from Montreal, I got terrified. I think it's a good thing I put it on a statement, because I said it prior. I said, if ever I disappear, if ever you find me dead somewhere, but it's her, it's her, because she's trying it since 10 years. And she knew at that time, what triggered her for my first arrest, also, she knew I knew it was her fake name. That I knew much more of the story that she wants you to know about it. And she just makes sure. She just made sure that I couldn't speak or I couldn't have any credibility, because her father told her, you know what? And I assumed that, but, my lawyers assumed that, the investigator also, because it was so perfect. She used every keyword on the 911 recording that you can use, that you can listen on my YouTube channel. And she used all the keywords also on the 2015 after the jail, after Rikers Island, to get me arrested for 10 years of prison. I never met this crazy woman. Psychopath, dangerous person. I never met her. I never spoke with her. So what triggered her so much, and what's gonna stop her? I'm not safe. It's been 10 years. I look at her like with her phone and yelling at the journalist. It's not even her story. She should not even appear there, but she wants to cash in on people's misery. She became famous on my injustice. She was not famous at all before. And she made money on my misery because she started giving interview and gaining sympathy in the press as a false victim that she claimed she was. But remember, she also used, like she did an interview to Extra, I believe, when it was James Gandolfini funeral, and she never met him, and she started, oh, Jimmy, like everybody said, nobody calls him Jimmy, like, but she wanted to pretend, lie again, that she knew him, that she met him, because otherwise she would have never done an interview. And that interview was to cash in on the funeral, on the death of this famous person she never met, and she pretends she did. Like, I can say that because I'm a victim of her lies. And I've been, tasting a lot of her medicine, and more than once. Like, she got me 6 months of jail based on lies, and then she tried for 10 years of prison on breaking my order of protection. And my order of protection, I put it this week on my Instagram. It's under a fake name. So you have the proof, and there's a page white with 3 circle or 2 circle, which is Hilaria Baldwin. And that's a page of my judgment in the New York court. And I put those 2 legal documents. It show you that when she came to court with her Spanish accent and everything, she claimed she was Hilaria, but it was not her legal name. It's still not her legal name. And that is a criminal concealment and a felony and lying on oath. And that is a felony, like big prison time for her. So what's going to be her next move? You know, she's an hour away from my house. I'm terrified. I never know. Like, I don't think now, because Eric Schneiderman and Andrew Cuomo are no longer governor of New York or attorney general, and they were Alec Baldwin, good friends. So I don't think she can try anything legal like that. So if she continued to spin at night on a person she never met, which is me, then she's an hour away from here. And the journalists, they said, oh, what are you doing in Vermont? Like, they were in Burlington. It's an hour away from my house. And she said, it's personal. Like, very, like, you see, she's in a second state of mind. I've never seen her that crazy and that out of her capacity to be in touch with reality. So, and she believes her own lies. So she's in Vermont, an hour away from my house. I am terrified. I'm terrified because narcissistic are spontaneous, crazy, vengeful, and nothing will stop them. Like, she could have killed, but she killed the woman I was, but there's a body still alive, a face that resembled a little bit like I was, but not really. But that's it. That's the only thing left of me, of the woman I was after the lies she gave to authority on oath and signature deposition at NYPD in 2015. Nothing's gonna stop her. She's very dangerous. So, and I just want to say, Alec Baldwin, he's kind of untouchable. Even if he kills someone, I never killed anyone. I was with my 2-pound dog, little dog, at 4 o'clock on the street. I was walking him, and the police, they never verified who called. They never saw her. They never checked her driving license to identify or validate her legal address, a legal name, before arresting me and causing me killing the person I was. I was in the middle of the street. I was not even on the property. So that is not a democracy, and that is wrong. But I was a foreigner. And when you're rich, and when you're middle class, and you're not rich and famous, and you're a foreigner, and when you are a woman, and I say me too, me too, me too, and I say it, and I had no chance. Thank God I was in Canada in 2015 when she created the other thing, because I would have spent the rest of my life in prison. You can be killed in detention. You can be killed, and you can be, I mean, especially with the pandemic that came after, I would still be in prison right now. And if I wasn't protected by the fact that I was outside of the United States, unable to return in the United States for the rest of my life because of her. And I worked all my life in American production in United States or in Canada, but needing to go to Los Angeles or New York a lot. So that aspect of my life, it's what I'm losing as my salary every year because of her. I can no longer work with Americans because you need to go and come back, and I will never be able to re-enter United States. So I am in danger. I am a target of a crazy person. If I had made that video like 8 years ago, people would have said, oh my God, what are you saying? But now that everybody knows it's not her name, She used the fake Spanish accents and cucumber and name it, like it's one after the other. Like even now, like she used like the death of this person, the Elena Uchkin, like Hutchison or Uchton. Like, I'm sorry if I like all I see is like, you don't know her name, you don't know her name. Like, you know, I was surprised to see how, like, in psychosis, like she was, you know. It's not necessarily concerning her, but she wants attention. She wants to get the attention back of the media, and she wants to give interview again. She wants to be seen in the news again. So, like, she even pretends she lost her cat that she find magically a few hours later. Like, I can say I lost my dog, and then an hour after show you a picture of my dog. You know, I think it's out of context and it's abusive when there's a little boy that lost his mother and that a husband that is mourning his wife, that all she thinks about is to grab compassion for pretending she lost her cat. Don't forget, people, like all the people that, you know, good people out there gives compassion. I'm like one of yours, but she lied about her name for 10 years. You think she won't lie about a cat? She sent an innocent to jail and she tried it again after for 10 years. So she's really, really sick, and it's not curable, and it's been 10 years, a full decade of lies. So I'm in danger. I'm saying it again. I said it before, never in video, but I said it in a tweet. If ever I disappear, if ever you find my body somewhere, the first person is Hilaria, and by far. And I think it's important that I put it here because I think it's going to protect me ultimately. She's really, really dangerous. She is a person I never met. So you see all the damage, and she tried many times. You know, you have to understand that the first time she got me arrested was in 2012, right? Based on lies. And I did 2 years of trial where she gained her fame. And because she used my misery to become famous. And I went to jail. I got out of jail. And 3 years after, she was still spinning so much that for no reason, she woke up one day and she walked where she feels she could have a VIP treatment, white privilege VIP treatment, Upper West Side in New York, near where Alec lived all his life at the El Dorado building on Central Park, right? And she went all the way there from, you know, from 10th Avenue or 12th Avenue. I don't know very much, but so it took her like a lot of time. And like, you have to understand, like, how does that construct in her mind? Like, you know, it's not like we had a fight and then she did that. I don't even know her, never spoke to her. So one day she woke up 3 years after getting me falsely arrested on a fake name with lies, and maybe she was bored, or maybe she was not getting enough attention in the news. I really don't know. But she woke up, she wrote 2 pages of declaration that she signed with the fake name, Hilaria Baldwin, and she was back at it after me. And it won't work anymore legally. So what's her next move? And she's an hour away from my house since more than a week. I am looking over my shoulder constantly. I'm terrified. She's really, really sick, really dangerous. And nothing is going to stop this psychopath to do whatever she wants to do the way she wants to do it. She feels she will never be held accountable by, because, you know, she never was held accountable in 2015 when they knew, and YPD and the district attorney, they had in their hands a 2-page declaration sign and the surveillance camera and the police officer to identify, yes, it was her, was not somebody else that came. So they never held her accountable. They refused to do an investigation as I asked them to do. So I got arrested, no investigation. I got in 2015 vilified based on lies, no investigation. I ask when everything is cleared by the US border that I never enter United States and I will never be able for the rest of my life to re-enter United States. I asked for them to do an investigation. They did zero investigation. And now Alec Baldwin shot and killed someone. I never killed anyone. I never did anything wrong. I knew the guy for nearly 15 years, you're right? And it was not her business what we were discussing. Even if we had a romance, it was not her place to do what she did. She was not living there. It was not her legal address. She used a fake name. This is all wrong legally. And I couldn't even say that at trial because I was not even allowed to speak at my own trial. So you know what I mean? And she's dangerous. So if you're one of those people who had an encounter with so-called Hilaria Baldwin, Hillary Lynn Edward Thomas, you just have to reach me in DM. So I guess together we can join force. I need to protect myself. I'm saying it publicly. If one day I disappeared, or I'm dead, it's her. It's the first person as a suspect to investigation if anything happened to me. You have to know that. And for me, it's important that everybody understand that there's 2 speeds of justice. For the rich and famous, the VIP white privileged people, and they signed false accusation like Hilaria did, and no investigation, even if it's proven I'm in Canada, a different country. And I got arrested right away. In 5 minutes, no investigation, my life was over. And Alec Baldwin, now he shot and killed someone. And there's like a million investigations because everybody is walking on eggshell. And they're very careful because they don't want to be held accountable or have the retaliation of a rich and famous guy and be exposed in the news for... Because, it's easy after that to say, you did a wrong job, you can lose your job, you're this, you're that. Everybody knows he controls the media right now. I mean, he shot and killed someone and he mastered it like a champ. Like he went to see the family and then he managed to have the father of the victim publicly saying, oh, I don't think Alec Baldwin is to blame. Like... he's doing it like a champ, right? I was not even allowed a minute investigation. He's not even like on site, He's not even retained and obligated to remain for the investigation. He's in Vermont, an hour away from here with crazy Hilaria, and I don't know what they're doing, but it's pretty dangerous, right? So, yeah, and... I mean, he was the actor, he shot the person, right? He shot and killed someone. I didn't do anything like that. And I was spontaneously detained and destroyed in the news. My presumption of innocence got destroyed in a second. I could never defend myself after that. And I never could. So if you're middle class or below, you're in my group and you have no chance of justice. And if you're rich and famous and you control the media and you work in film and you manage everything, and President Clinton because he came for dinner in your house, and this and that and this and that, then you're pretty good even if you shoot and kill someone. I think so. Yeah. So it's a sad story, and I'm wearing black to honor her, and all the people like the Bruce Lee family, like Brandon Lee. I thought it was an horrible story since years. And as an actress, I did my class at my first movie was an American film, and it was with Tom Sizemore. It's called Swindle, and it was a bank robbery, and I had like a tiny little part in it. But I was, I think Tom Sizemore was pointing a gun to my head. So what I did is on my own, I took a gun manutention class about all the rifle and how to put them in and how to specialize into movie and how to verify the barrel, how to know if it's a live round and not a live round, and everything we're discussing in the news now since this very unfortunate situation that perhaps going to make a big change in our business, because everybody who is an actor should be forced to take this class. And the unions, where are the responsibility of the unions? Nobody's talking about it, but the unions, they should be the ones, like if there is big stunts, car chase, car explosive, or gun, a representative of the union should be on site on the day of shooting. And I think it's important that the union also take a certain responsibility on the fact that they don't demand that their members are trained for gun handling and manutention. And I did all the type of guns, and I did live round, I did the shoot and blank. And I've been told, the first thing I've been told, never point the gun to somebody. Never, even if it's empty and you verify that the barrel is empty or the chamber, you never point a gun to someone. Even if it would be a plastic gun on a movie set, you do not do that. So that's what I've been taught by professional, that, nobody got that organized for me. I did it on my own. And I think I was doing this American film, and Tom Sizemore was putting a gun to my face, and it was very, like, a lot of gun people were shooting, and I was in the middle, and like a tiny part. I was a bank teller, so it's nothing important, but any accident could have happened, and I took on my shoulder to make sure I knew how to protect myself and protect others in that situation as a professional actor. And for me, it's important, and I did it. And I was not to that level of success. I was just a little French Canadian actress, but you know what? I did the right thing, and I'm proud of it. And it made me secure, and it made me protected, not only from being an accident towards me, but also to not cause the great pain of arming someone with a gun that I would use as an actress. So, I think everybody knows you do not point a gun. Even if you practice your movement, even if you say you want another shot, bang, bang, as a joke, which is the big no-no, you don't do that. You just don't, you just, you act professional. This is not a toy, and it's not a toy that serves your ego, and you're not there to entertain the set. You're there to do a good job, and it's terrible what happened. And then I know that my crazy abuser, my stalker, Hilaria Cucumber Baldwin, is, I could see in the news, like, she's over the top and losing all her money contract, and now this, and like, in French we say décompenser, like, like she is collapsing emotionally or psychology, and she's got that fragility of being a pathological liar slash narcissist. So, you know, if she believes her own lies to the point she sent an innocent to jail, and then she filed 3 years after another false accusation that she signed. Imagine what she can do when she's in a state of mind like this and she's an hour away from my house or closer. I am terrified. And I'm going to be forced to never be really seen as the victim of that pathological liar that abused the court, abused the legal system, to hurt her rival, that she believed I was a rival. And it's really, really, really wrong. So anyway, I made too long video, but I needed to tell you that, because if ever anything happened to me now or in 20 years, because like it's been 10 years now, you have to understand, I'm not protected, you know, I am not protected. But now everybody knows she's a crazy liar, and that she's weird, and that she, you know, she lost all her contracts. She'll never work again in that business. And her credibility is at zero. And you know, based on that, I'm more protected, you know, because people see her for who she truly is. And so, and she's easily recognizable. So, yeah, I think I'm more protected, but still, I never met this person in my life. Can you believe it? Never. I saw her at the trial, but that's it. I never met her before she started all those things against me. Never. She's really dangerous. So if you're one of those people that had like psychopathic encounter with Hilaria, crazy Hilaria Cucumber Baldwin, Hilary Lynn Hayward Thomas, then you contact me in the DM. Okay? So together we can, I don't know, but together we'll be stronger, I guess, more protected. Okay? So have a good weekend, everybody, and well, I'm not safe.